We have been lied to our entire lives, and it's time we got real about it. School told us that being the best student required studying the hardest and working the longest. Society tells us that building a successful career requires sacrificing our health, relationships, and happiness. Productivity bros tell us that becoming rich requires going into monk mode and putting the rest of your life on hold for 6 months. This is what makes us feel so trapped in our current life, what makes you feel like you have no balance. Because the world has slowly been convincing you that success requires sacrifice, that obtaining wealth, happiness, and achievement while living a balanced life is impossible. How do I know this? Because I got trapped in the exact same conditioning. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a complete evidence-backed guide to the tools, strategies, and mindset that I use to break out of this conditioning. These are the exact things that helped me exit monk mode and enter growth mode, to create a life where I am successful not just in my career, but also my health, my side hustle, my social media, and my personal development. So let's get into it. What actually is monk mode? Monk mode is a state of deliberate discipline and self-induced isolation. It aims to boost your focus, productivity, and ultimately your results. It's basically an approach to life where you commit to eliminating all distractions and dedicating yourself to one single thing. You actively and optionally remove all the balance from your life. This is most commonly seen on the entrepreneurial side and the toxic productivity side of social media, where people will basically give up everything else in their life except for their work. Now, despite sounding brutal, monk mode actually sounds kind of effective at first glance. You would think that if you dedicate your whole day to work, then it's inevitable that you're going to make major progress. But it doesn't quite work that way. When you eliminate balance from your life, you also eliminate all opportunities for growth, and you set yourself up for burnout and time wasting. I want to introduce you to two people, Mia and Sophie. Mia wants to grow her business, but she's currently working a 9-to-5 job. She wants to take this seriously, so she sets out her schedule for the next week. She wakes up at 5 a.m, does her work from 5 to 8 a.m, then goes to her 9-to-5 job. At 6 o'clock, she comes home, says a quick hi to her partner, and then gets back onto her computer. The first week goes amazingly, but a few weeks later, Mia is absolutely falling apart. She's exhausted and unfulfilled. Her relationship is falling apart. She's gained weight. She goes to bed dreading waking up, and she hasn't even seen any results from her work because half of the time that she's spending on her work, she's just procrastinating or dragging tasks out. Now, Sophie is in the same boat as Mia. She's working her 9-to-5 job and she really wants to see success in her side hustle. But Sophie does things differently. She knows that achieving her side hustle goals will take a while. They won't happen in a few weeks. She's also been following productivity accounts and watching YouTube videos for a while now. So Sophie knows that to make this work long term and see success, she can't go into monk mode. Instead, she allocates 2 hours every morning to her side hustle and 4 hours every Saturday and Sunday. She keeps her daily exercise in, she reduces her social catch-ups from 3 per week to 1 per week, and calls her friends more in the car instead. She spends less time but still really good quality time with her partner each night and still has time for reading before bed. A month down the track, Sophie is feeling more motivated and fulfilled than ever because she's pursuing something she's passionate about in a way that is sustainable. She's also starting to slowly see her hard work come to fruition. So if we look at Mia and Sophie, Mia is suffering from Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time that you give it. Mia isn't setting any constraints to her side hustle, so it ends up filling up all of her time. She's missing out on so many opportunities to learn and grow in other areas of her life. And she's working longer hours, but she really isn't using them effectively. Sophie is doing the opposite. She's doing effective work, she's still maintaining a healthy balance while being realistic, and so she's setting herself up for long-term growth and success in all areas of her life. Her identity isn't tied to her work, and so her self-worth doesn't depend on how well her side hustle does. You can take this concept and apply it to any goal that you're currently pursuing in your life. Now, I do a lot of things. I'm currently working a 9 to 5. I go to the gym, play netball, run or walk every single day. I coach a netball team. I'm building my social media and now creating YouTube videos. And I've also started working with clients to help them live more productive, intentional, and organized lives. So one of the most common questions that I get is, how do you manage to balance everything? It's easy to see that Sophie's way of doing things is ideal, but the reality is it requires a certain level of skill and strategy to actually be able to execute and find this balance in your life. Because we don't only want to find balance, but we also want to be successful in the things that we are pursuing. So we're going to dive into exactly what those skills and strategies are that I use in my life and you can start implementing to find better balance while still achieving big things. The very first thing that you need to do is to define your version of balance. The way that balance looks in your life is going to be completely different to how it looks in mine. It's also going to be completely different to the way that it looked for you maybe 6 or 12 months ago. Balance isn't about having all areas of your life be equal. It's not about allocating an even amount of time and energy to your health, as your work, as your side hustle, as your relationships. It all depends on what your current goals and priorities are and what you genuinely enjoy doing. I have made myself wrong so many times for working too hard because I've been told that it's unbalanced. But the reality is I genuinely like working and doing things and pursuing things. So if I was to try and limit that side of me, then it actually wouldn't be balanced in my life. But maybe for you right now, work isn't a priority and you want to improve your relationships more. Or maybe like Sophie and Mia, you're really trying to pursue your side hustle. Take a minute to work out what your ideal version of balance looks like, and that will be our starting point to reaching a really happy place and a really balanced place in your life. The second thing is the hell yes or no rule. You don't need to go into monk mode to be successful, but you do have to be intentional. If you focus on 100 things, you're going to be moving one step in 100 different directions and you're actually not going to get anywhere. You're not going to see the success that you want. Trust me, I have tried this. Doing too many things does not work. Research shows the less goals you have, the more likely you are to achieve them. So if we want to pursue multiple goals, it means that we have to be willing to cut out other things in our life that genuinely aren't important, that aren't a hell yes for us. Because when we eliminate these other things, we suddenly get so much more time and energy to put towards the things that really do matter. So to work out your hell yes or no things, start off by making a list of absolutely everything that happens in your life. So think through a typical week in your life and look at the relationships that you're spending time and energy on. Look at your work. What are your hobbies? What are you watching? What are your obligations, your interests, your goals? Write down absolutely everything that takes up a part of your time or your energy. Step 2 is to go through and mark each thing as a hell yes or a no. This is where you work out the things that matter most to you, the things that you absolutely love and you really want to keep in your life. So for each item on your list, ask yourself, is this a hell yes, or is this something that's good for my long-term health, happiness, or fulfillment? The reason that we think long-term as well is that maybe right now you don't really love going to the gym, but you know that in the long term, it's going to improve your focus, it's going to improve your health, and ensure that you live a long, happy life. So that is something that definitely should stay. But if something doesn't pass the hell yes test, then it's a sign that we probably need to start eliminating it. So if you have a friend who is constantly draining your energy, it's a sign that you need to start cutting back your communication with them. If you're currently scrolling TikTok for an hour before bed each night, that's probably not something that your higher self would be doing. For me, things like going to the footy, like exercising, like having meaningful conversations, they're all hell yeses for me, so they are going to stay in my life. This is also a really good rule to use when you're deciding whether or not to say yes to things. Everything that you're asked to do, really ask yourself, is this a hell yes? Or is this something that's going to help my growth in the long term? And if it's not, then you're allowed to say no. And the final step in this is the elimination step. And this isn't easy, but it's something that we really have to do. So all of the things in your list that you've said no to, try and start finding ways that you can slowly eliminate things. This might be finding the discipline to say no and putting measures in place that will reduce the likelihood of you doing your bad habits, like scrolling your phone at night. This is also where having a really clear vision and a really clear why makes it much easier to say no to the things that you know don't serve you. You can really see why you're saying no, and it makes it easier to stick with that decision and not feel bad about it. Strategy number 3 is to prioritize and make time for deep work. If we go back to our story from earlier, there is a reason that Sophie is getting so many more results than Mia despite working less time. Sophie is doing deep work. This is the single biggest tool that I have used to move the needle in my social media growth, in writing my newsletters, in researching for YouTube videos, and creating social media posts. All work that we do falls into one of 2 categories. You have deep work, which is really focused, uninterrupted, undistracted work that takes up quite a bit of your energy. The other type of work is shallow work, and this is things that can be done whilst you're distracted and that require less of your energy. So I spend the first 90 to 120 minutes each day before my 9 to 5 doing deep work on things to do with my social media. So this isn't the time that I respond to comments. It's not the time that I watch videos or create reels. This time is solely focused on primarily writing and a bit of editing, because this takes up most of my focus. To maintain balance and make time for other areas of your life, you have to work out what your most needle moving work is. You can use the Pareto principle. 20% of your work creates 80% of your results. So find that 20% of work that is the most important, put that in your deep work time, and prioritize that every single day. All those other tasks I was talking about, so things like emails, messages, consuming content, hopping on calls, save those for times where you have less energy, and maybe it's at the end of your day when you've already gone through your 9 to 5 and you're feeling mentally drained. That is the perfect time to do those things. That is exactly why I go to the gym and work out after work, because my mental energy is drained, but my physical energy is still there. If you can start being smarter with the times that you do different types of work, and if you can really prioritize getting in that 20% of your most important work every single day, I can guarantee you will get the most insane results compared to if you were just to work longer hours. Strategy number 4 is to create systems that maximize your effectiveness. If you want to have multiple different parts to your life, and especially if you want to be successful in all of them, then you have to create and implement systems. Research shows that we have a limited mental capacity. When your brain tries to process too much information at once or manage too many things at the same time, it goes into cognitive overload. This overload increases your cortisol levels, your stress hormone. It impacts your ability to focus and do the deep work that we just spoke about. And it has negative effects on your mood and even your physical health. We are consuming more content than ever on a daily basis, so managing this has never been more important. Creating systems is a way to reduce this cognitive overload and reduce the amount of information storage, decision making, and analysis paralysis that our brain has to do. Over the last 2+ years, I have slowly built up a bunch of different systems that basically allow me to put my health, my relationships, my mental energy, and my work on autopilot, so it makes balancing all the things so much easier. So for example, with my health, I now have a meal prep routine every single week, and to be honest, I basically cook the same meals just because it's what I find the easiest. I also have morning and night routines that I know help me to perform at my best. They keep me organized and they keep me on top of my physical and mental health. I even have workout plans so that every time I go into the gym, I know exactly what I have to do and I don't even have to think about it. And that's just in health alone. You can do so many other things. So if I look at my content creation, I now have an idea generation system. I have format outlines for my videos and my reels. I'm still in the process at the moment of developing the best repurposing systems to take these YouTube videos and distribute them onto other platforms. And then you have things that really help you just in your general workflows. So habits like brain dumping, like having a weekly reset that allows you to declutter your brain and just organize your life. One of the best systems, and I would really encourage you to develop this first, is creating a really solid daily planning system to just take the small decision making out of every day. It is game changing when you can go into the start of your day, knowing exactly what needs to get done and when it's going to get done. You could even create systems for your relationship. So you could do weekly friend dinners, or you could do weekly date nights, just to automate keeping your relationship strong and healthy. Some people might call this crazy or obsessive. Some people might say that it's too structured, but the reality is, if you want big results, if you want to be able to take on big opportunities, you have to have a structure that supports that bigness. You have to have a solid baseline in place that gives you the freedom to go after crazy things and not just maintain, but thrive in the different parts of your life. The more you can simplify, streamline, and organize, the more that you can get out of your head and into some kind of system, or even just a piece of paper, the more time and energy you are going to have to create the all-in results that you really want, to create the monk mode results without going into monk mode. So if you want to have massive success without sacrificing other parts of your life, start taking action on some of these things, and I've got all of your action steps right here. First, find your version of balance. Think about what you really enjoy and what you want to put your time and energy towards. Define that, and then you can start pursuing it. Next, use the hell yes or no rule to find your hell yes activities and eliminate the remaining things so that you have more time and energy to put towards the things that really do matter to you. Third, make time for daily deep work on the 20% of things that really move the needle for you. This is what will get you the results without having to shut yourself away from the rest of the world. Fourth, brainstorm some systems that you want to implement into your life. You could use the list that I just gave as well, and choose just one of them to start implementing this week. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and let me know any other ideas in the comments for future videos that you would love to see.